Keeper Grace and Keeper Eric here. We are in the Australia yard. Did anybody figure out what macropods meant? We are here in the Australia yard with our wallabies and wallaroos. 3 of our 4 wallabies are over here on this side of the yard still. Our wallaroos just left. We'll go over and see them in a minute. But we have 2 of our females and our male here on the left. Our male's in the middle. And then Marcy is the one with that blue ear tag in. Then we have another female. I think I saw her over by the wallaroos on the other side of the yard. We have Lena as well as our 3rd female that we have. These guys are native to Southwest Australia. And they are herbivores, meaning that they do eat grass and shrub-like plants. I can show you what we feed them here at the zoo though. So in their diet they get this grain is called ADF grain. We get it from Missouri, the company. And then they also get red leaf eater. It's another herbivore grain. Can you see it with the sun?
I'm getting sun. There we go. That's better.
How's that?
Yep.
So we get the red leaf eater is another herbivore grain. Both of these grains we feed to several of the animals. Let's see, the red leaf eater we also feed to the lemurs, the gibbons, the langurs, the red pandas. The ADF we feed to the goats, who else gets ADF? Mostly the hoof stock. Mostly the goats, cow. And then their produce that we make for them every day, we also give them a variety of greens. We go through quite a lot of greens for the zoo for various animals. And then produce-wise, looks like they got some sweet potato. They usually get like sweet potato, carrots, apple and bananas. And then you may notice that there's stuff on here. There's Strongid C on there. And that is a anti-parasitic. Because they are in an open exhibit, they are prone to getting those internal parasites, so we give them that Strongid C to help them fight off all of them left.
We'll go find them in a minute.
So that is what we feed them here at the zoo. Then they also graze on the grass in the yard as well. We can go meet the wallaroos. They're on the other side of the turkey vulture now.
So explain again what a macropod is.
Right, macropod. So that is a Latin term, macro meaning large, pod meaning foot. So they're large-footed animals. So there's our 2 wallaroos. That smaller gray one in the back is Windy. And then the larger chocolate brown one, his name is Elvis. Let's see, I had to write down everybody's ages too to keep everybody straight. Elvis was actually born here. His mother used to live here. So he's about almost 5 years old now. Windy is 12 years old though. So she is an older girl. However, in captivity, wallaroos, both wallaroos and wallabies, they can live to be, wallaroos can live to be about 20 in captivity, while the wallabies live to be about 10 to 15 years old in captivity.
All right, we have a question from Shay, who, especially on a day like today, wants to know how they do in the colder weather we have here, since Australia is a pretty warm continent.
Sure, they can actually tolerate quite a range of temperature. On the colder days, we do always give them access to the building behind us. They have a heated stall back there. However, they actually do rather stay outside. A day like today is probably one of the best times to come see these guys at the zoo. These cooler mornings when the sun is nice and bright, they will all be out lined up against the fence line sunbathing. This is probably their favorite weather because both of these species are actually nocturnal. So they are, being from Australia, they're not going to be active during the hottest part of the day. they're going to be more active at night when it's a little bit cooler. So these guys are not active during the day at all.
All right, Jackson and Helen are watching, and Helen wants to know.
Those are my cousins.
Helen wants to know if you have any babies right now.
We do not have any babies yet. So Sanford is a newer male. He just moved here. He's all the way over
Should I
there.
get Sanford? Let me get Sanford.
Sanford is over, yeah, he's along the fence line over there. Sanford moved into this yard in February. So with macropods, gestation, so the females are only pregnant for about 30 days, and then a tiny little naked joey will crawl up into the mom's pouch, and that baby will stay there for about 6 months before we even see that joey. And so we could have some super early tiny little joeys, but we have not done a pouch check since. We'll probably do a pouch check this summer to see if we have any joeys.
And so since they do have pouches, that makes them a type of marsupial, right?
Right.
Did you say that?
I don't know that I've said the word marsupial yet, but they are a type of marsupial, yes.
Okay. I knew we had more questions. How much do they weigh? From Heather.
So Elvis and Wendy are, they're about the same. They're about 30 kilograms, so they're about 65-ish pounds. All of our wallabies, they're about 5 kigs. I think Marcy's my big girl. She's about 7 kigs.
So that's about
14-ish.
Yeah. They're going by.
They're like 8 to 12 pounds.
Helen wants to know, do they like to play, and what would they do to play, and then also what kinds of enrichment they get as he hops around.
So the types of enrichment I give them, well, Elvis's dad, I've seen Elvis sometimes. I'll actually hang a jolly ball. You've seen the big plastic balls that we have. We hang them from the trees. They do like to, he likes to box a hanging ball quite a bit. And then I also give them, I'll hide their food in different places in the yard. I'll give them scent enrichment, things like that.
Okay. Jackson wants to know how high they can jump.
Did you get a good shot of Elvis jumping over the railing? He can jump pretty high. He's pretty impressive. I don't know. I don't know a number off the top of my head about how high they can jump. But I know this fence is not tall enough for kangaroos. We have wallabies and wallaroos, so they're smaller than the kangaroos. So they would the kangaroos would need a much taller fence.
Okay.
Wendy's
she's watching us.
She's like, there are 3 staff members in here. What's going on?
Yeah. They haven't seen a lot of people lately with the zoo being closed as well. There's Spencer. Let's get a little look at Spencer over there. Sanford, my fault.
Spencer's the
we were talking about.
Just talking about.
You were talking about Spencer, so there we go. There's a little hop from Sanford. Instead of hopping high, they typically hop a long ways.
Yeah.
So they can hop a good 5 or 6 feet, right? The little ones?
The little ones, yeah. And I've seen Elvis, when we were trying to do a catch-up for vets, he can get pretty high. I'm pretty sure his back feet got about to my shoulder. He body checked me. It didn't feel good.
Well, here's the question that kind of goes along with that. Shay asked, do they ever get aggressive and kick like they do in the old cartoons?
That's a really good question. So you can kind of see Wendy here. She's using that back tail to balance. If she takes, I don't know if I can step, if she won't hop away, if she'll just walk away. She'll kind of use that tail to balance. She's the old wise girl. She knows I'm not going to grab her. I just want you to show your tail.
There's a good tail shot.
Very briefly. But they will stand on the back of their tail. and then use their back feet to box one another. I think males do that most often when they're being territorial or fighting over females.
Therese, I think, wants to know, do we see a difference in them when people aren't around?
Maybe a little bit. I mean, I think these guys, since we've been closed to the public, they've been spending a little bit more time out in the sidewalk and stuff like that. But I think they're a pretty laid-back species in here. They're just out here sunbathing.
Okay. Julie, I think, wants to know, how fast can they move?
Ooh, I should know better to look these questions up. I don't know that I've had like a miles per hour of how fast they can move. I know they can move fairly quickly, though.
They can definitely move faster than us.
Yes.
When they run away, they can definitely beat us in a race.
Well, the wallabies are over there eating if we want to go back over there.
Should
by
we walk over
wallabies.
there? Do we know how tall they are?
We can go over by the silhouettes and kind of show how big they all are. I think the wallabies are probably only about a foot and a half tall.
They're pretty tiny.
And then our wallaroos, this is probably close to 5 feet tall.
Let's see if I can zoom in on them eating. There we go.
Nina in the middle. She came back. So that's Sanford eating all the lettuce out of the food bowls. He's usually the first one in a food dish. And then that's Lena behind him.
And then Larkin wants to know, do they mate for life, and do the dads help with any parenting?
In the wild, they do form like mobs. The males will kind of help protect their mobs, but they don't really have a whole lot to do with with the rearing of the child at all. I think that's all on mom. What was the half of the question? Did I answer it?
Do they mate for life?
Do they mate for life? Yes. I have heard of some being monogamous, but I think males are territorial and will take over other mobs in the wild. And
so right now I'm focusing on the silhouettes.
Oh yeah, so that the silhouettes will give you a good idea of the different species of macropods. So you've got your kangaroos that are going to be your largest species, and then the wallaroos, who we have, and then the wallabies. Now there are several different species of wallaby. We just have the Tamar wallabies here.
Okay. My wife has a question. She says, do they have a favorite treat?
I think, Sanford likes lettuce. You can see that. I tend to give them some like novel fruit items. They like fruit, bananas. I've heard of others liking usually it's fruit. Bananas are a big favorite. That's usually what if I give them an enrichment item with food in it, it's usually bananas or berries.
Vicky has a good question. Do the males have a pouch or only the females?
That's a really good question. So, right, the males do not have a pouch. Like I said before, they don't have anything to do with helping take care of those babies, so they do not have a pouch.
Okay. Melissa wanted to know again how many wallabies we have total.
We have 4 wallabies total right now. We have Sanford, our male, who we're watching right now, and then we have 3 female wallabies, and then we have the 2 wallaroos.
And then Shay's got a question, because we're talking about wallabies and kangaroos and wallaroos. Are the wallaroos a hybrid?
No, they're completely different species.
So they're kind of halfway between a kangaroo and a wallaby, therefore they're called a wallaroo, but they're definitely different species that you would find in the wild, and they don't breed with kangaroos or wallabies.
Macropus, thank you, Macropus genus, but they are considered different species.
Hannah's 5-year-old wants to know if there's a food they don't like.
I think they can be all of our macropods left.
Yes. We'll go find some
I
again.
think they can be picky about the different types of greens that they get. I don't think they're not as crazy about like kale. But they'll eat just about any fruit or vegetable that I give them.
Elvis is right on the path. Let's get him. Oh, there he goes, hopping away.
All right, well, if anybody's got any other questions, you can post those down in the comments, and I'll get back to you later in the comment section. Otherwise, thanks for joining us here in the Australia Yard today, and then don't forget that donate button to help us out here at Miller Park Zoo. Thanks for joining us today, guys.